it's me again, Kiana, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing the first unhaul for 2022. I want to say I have 15 books here. I really want to make it a priority in 2022 to go through my bookshelves at least once to two times, once every month or every other month, and look through books that I've had on my shelves for a while, but I still haven't read it, no matter how many times I've put it on a CBR or I picked it up and started it but then never finished it, and I just don't want to keep them on my shelves anymore. It's taking space up that I could use for other books that I really actually want to read. So let's go through these books. Stack I have here, one of the first books I have is Sorcerer Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I just don't think I'm gonna keep the physical one of it. I can't read it physically, but I have started it before via audiobook, and I enjoyed it this way. In this book, we follow a girl named Elizabeth, and she was abandoned as a child to these like great library, and that's how she's grown up, and she's trying to be trained to be one of them, to work with one of the most like dangerous grimoires, but then something happens and she's basically like blamed for it. So, you know, I just can't read it physically, and if I can enjoy it audiobook wise, I'll read it then. So this is getting rid of. The second book is Star Daughter by Shivita Davar. I'm so sorry if I said that so wrong. I got this in one of my owl crates. I'll try to get somewhere. My sister has my other copy of this, so if I do ever end up wanting to read it, I'll just get it from my sister. She has the regular copy. This is the owl crate. I think the only reason I wanted it was for the fact that it was purple, but I'm not interested in it, and I'm never going to read it, so out it goes. The next two books are going to be the Red Scrolls of Magic book 1 and the Lost Book of White book 2. I absolutely enjoy Cassandra Clare's books, but I have tried to reread both of these and I just can't seem to do it, so I would just rather not have them anymore in my collection. Those follow Magnus Chase and Alec Lightwood, like in between certain books in the Mortal Instrument series as they go on their other things. Like, we're hinted in some of the books in the Mortal Instrument series on what happens, but those like dive into it. The next is going to be The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I think I'm going to give this to my little sister because she said she wanted to read it, but I've had it for over a year and I don't think I'm ever going to read it. This follows a girl, of course, named Addie LaRue, and she made a deal with the devil like so many years ago that she wanted to, got a bookmark in it though, she's not getting this. Sorry, so she had basically made a deal with the devil to stay young forever, but the consequence for her staying young forever is that no one ever gets to remember her, and then all of a sudden someone remembers her. So Addie fears she is going to lose her immortality. A lot of people love this, but at the same time a lot of people hate it. This was book of the month for October in 2020, so I've had it for over a year, still never read it, so bye bye. The next stack I have Sisters of the Snake by Serena and Sasha Nanu. This came in an owl crate box, and I believe like when I unboxed it I said that I most likely will not be reading this, and it's true. With majority of the boxes that came in 2021 from owl crate, I just didn't enjoy the books that were coming out, so I skipped a bunch of the months, but yeah, just not gonna read it. The next one is Horrid by Katrina Leno. I did end up reading this in September, October, and I absolutely loved it. But would I ever reread it? Probably not. I did enjoy it. I'll most likely, again, give this to my little sister because when I raved about it, she wanted to read it. This follows a girl named Jane. And after the death of her father, her and her mom moved back to like her mom's childhood home and to her childhood town. And in there, people are like giving her weird looks and weird stares, and she thinks that the house is haunted, like creepy shit is going on. I recommend bless you, I recommend it, but I don't think I'm ever going to reread it, so I'm just not going to keep it on my shelf. The next two books I really loved, but again, I don't feel like I'm going to reread it, and that is the Scavenge the Stars duology by Tara Sims. The first book is the Count of Monte Cristo retelling, and we follow a girl named Amaya, and she was sold to a debt collector when she was 7 years old, and the debt collector said her parents sold her, but she never believed that. So when she's like a couple weeks shy of being released, she helps save someone, and the debt collector is like, okay, this adds like 3 more years to you. So they end up like overrunning him, and the person she saves wants to go against where she's from because it's a part of this empire, and so they team up to try to break down someone. And then we follow a guy named Kale. His father's a merchant, and his father's had somewhat of a take in Amaya being sold to debt collectors, so you know, stuff of that. The second book I enjoyed. I loved both of these in 2019. 2020, this helped me get out of my book slump in July. But again, I don't feel like I'm ever going to reread it, so it's just taking space up on my bookshelves, guys, if we're being honest. The next one is Forest of Souls by Laura Emily. When I heard about this and how much people loved it, I bought it right away. But then my thing is, if I don't read it as soon as I buy it, I'm probably never going to read it. This follows a girl named Sercha, and she has been training to be the next Queen Royal spy. But her plans are derailed when someone attacks and kills her best friend. She is unveiled as the first soul guide in living memory. She is then summoned to be with the Spider King, to help with his influence over the dead wood. It sounds so magical, but again, my thing is, if I don't read it as soon as I get it, I'm most likely not gonna read it, so off my shelves. Last stack of books, guys. The next one is going to be The Near Witch by B.E. Schwab, another one. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Victoria Schwab's books, but just some of them I don't feel like I would ever reread, so it's not gonna stay on my shelf. And this one we follow a girl named Lexi, and she lives in this town where they don't get a lot of strangers. When a stranger comes to town, kids in her town starts going missing, and they automatically blame him. Lexi doesn't think that that's the case. Lexi thinks that a story she was told when she was a child is actually true, that the Near Witch is back and she's taking the children. I love this when I read it, but again, am I going to reread it? No, so off my shelf. The X-Heck by Erin Sterling. It was hyped up. It was a book talk book. That is why I bought it. That's why I wanted to read it. It ended up being a 3-star for me. We follow a girl named Vivian, and when she was like 19 years old, she fell in love with another witch. He broke her heart. She ended up cursing him, but she never knew if it was true because he was in like England. When he comes back 10 years later, because the town that she lives in is basically like a Halloween town, and he was a founding family member, whatever, she finds out the curse is real and now has to help uncurse him. It was hyped up more than I wanted it to be, and I'm very disappointed with that, so off. The next 2 books I've never read, but I bought it again because of the hype, and that is Sal and Gabby Break the Universe and Sal and Gabby Fix the Universe by Carlos Hernandez. And I really wanted to read this because it was a part of the it's a part of the Rick Riordan Presents, where like he publishes other authors when they do like their culture mythology. But I'm never going to get to it. I don't feel like I'm ever going to read it. And if I do, you know, I'll just probably do an ebook from Scribd or something. And then these last 2 books I got literally December, but I was disappointed by them, so I'm not going to keep them on my shelf. And that is The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. I didn't enjoy this. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Lila annoyed me. So we follow a girl named Lila, and she lives in basically a holiday town. She lives in Holly, New York. She works at this inn that is based off of this really famous Christmas movie, and she secretly runs a book blog, which that's not so bad. But the reason she holds it so secretly is because a couple years ago her father's business burned down. They set up a GoFundMe page, and people thought that they were lying, that they set the fire on purpose, and people were bashing them. So the parents, to protect the children, never wanted them on social media. So Lila is hiding behind her parents' back with that. We then have a guy named Teddy, who is Lila's boss's nephew. He comes to town. He ends up taking the hours that Lila wanted for the holiday break to help pay for college that's coming up. And so there's a rivalry with that. The only reason it's called The Holiday Switch is because they switch phones for like a day. But yeah. And then the next one, even though I enjoyed it, I don't think I would ever reread it, and that is Snow and Love, 4 stories by Melissa De La Cruz, Nick Stone, Amy Friedman, and Casey West. I enjoyed some of them. I think the one that I didn't like the most was the Amy Friedman one, where this girl is Jewish. She only celebrates Hanukkah, and she like forgets her religion because she wants to work at a Christmas store because they pay more money so she can get her best friend something for Hanukkah, and that like really annoyed me. But yeah, I'm not gonna keep it. Okay, so it's 16 books I am unhauling. I think that's a good amount of books for the first video. I hopefully will do this again in 2 months. I feel like it is very good with the amount of books I bring in every month, anywhere between like 5 to 11 books. So to get rid of 16 books at least every 2 months, I think will just like declutter me. But that is all I have for this video here. I'll be leaving right here 2 videos you guys should go check out. I try to post between 2 to 3 times a week, and I'll hopefully see you guys very soon with another video. Bye guys.